Hi everyone, Amber here from Majestic. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are sewing up month 4 of Cotton Cut's Puzzle Mystery Quilt Under the Sea. I'm sewing up a large Davy Jones Locker. So we have 2 different sections this month. We have section 4A, and you will have 2 of these, and section 4B, which you will also have 2 of these. I have included timestamps in the description in case you want to jump ahead or need help with a particular spot. I hope you're enjoying the tutorials. If you are, please consider giving me a thumbs up or subscribing. It helps my channel grow. It helps me reach new people, and I just appreciate it so much. So enjoy the tutorial. All right, so we have month 4 here of our Under the Sea Puzzle Mystery Quilt. As you can see, it has 2 sections. 4A and 4B. So I will be sewing up one of each, which means that I'm going to be cutting each of these numbers in half. I have all my fabrics laid out, my color card, so I'm making sure that I am choosing correctly. And I am sewing with some Gutermann thread and a 7010 universal needle. All right, so we're going to start on 4A, step 1, I need a small E triangle, which is my vampire cat fabric, and a small A triangle. They're sticking together as I'm trying to grab them right now. A small A triangle, which is my cream colored fabric with like the pink ghosts and stuff on it. That's it. And put these right sides together. Everything matches up perfectly. Because they are on a point, sometimes my machine likes to suck them into the feed dogs. So I'm going to carefully put my needle down first before sewing. And that kind of helps. One of the ways to help so it doesn't get sucked down into my feed dogs. And I want to make sure I'm paying attention to which way I am pressing my fabric, and it is being pressed to the left, so our seams are going to go to the left. And I like pressing from the top first and then gently folding it open, and I'm doing that without tugging. We really don't want to warp my fabric. Okay, so now for step 2, I need an E square. And if you're making both at the same time, you're going to need 2 of each of these steps. I'm doing the 1. Okay, put them right sides together. I do not clip, so I really want to make sure that when I'm turning this to put it under my machine, under my presser foot, that I'm actually sewing the correct side. I've accidentally sewed the wrong side numerous times and had to pick everything out. And this one here, our seams are going to be pressed down towards the square we just added. So I like pressing from the side first and then gently opening them. And I find that it just helps like kind of set the seam. Some people don't press the other side first. Whatever works easiest for you. Okay, so that is step 2. I'm going to set it to the side. Now we have step 3 here, where I need another A triangle, and this time an F triangle, which is my raven fabric. And in the Davy Jones colorway, these look very similar. So I want to make sure that I'm paying attention when it comes to pressing them. They both have that cream background. So some colorways have very similar fabrics, so you have to be mindful of that. All right, and for this one here, we are pressing towards our S fabric, that's the top right, towards the fabric that has the ravens on it. If you are also doing the Davy Jones colorway. Okay, I'm gonna set that to the side. We'll need it in a minute, but not quite yet. Now we have step 4, another half square triangle. We need a E triangle, so my vampire kitties, and an F triangle, the ravens. And all these, if you're making both blocks, you want to sew 2 of them as well. I'm doing the one for the tutorial. I this one. Well. And for this one here, we are pressing down towards our S fabric, which is our raven fabric. I don't know if my hands are like extra soft today. I feel like I can't grip the fabrics. Okay, and just gently press that open. That is step 4. So now for step 5, we are going to kind of join them all together. So I need to join step 2 to the bottom of step 3. So this one here was my step 3, which is the F fabric up top and the A. So I want my step 2 underneath it. I know that I have it lined up correctly because this A fabric matches up. And then I want to put my step 4, which was this half square triangle, on the bottom. And I know that I've done that correctly because all my E fabric have are lined up. So I'm going to start at the top first, and they should match up perfectly because they are die cut. I'm not clipping it. I'm just going to sew it. I think, yeah. If I put my like. And for both of these, we're pressing towards the center. So for this one, since it's the top part, I'm pressing my seams down. Gently pressing from the back, and then that helps fold this open. A lot of new people with cotton cuts panic when they see this. They'll see that it doesn't go all the way to the edge, and that's correct because this takes in the seam allowance. So that's going to get hidden, so don't panic if your fabric doesn't go all the way to the edge. It should look like this. And then we're going to do the same thing to the bottom. And I'm going to put them right sides together, making sure that they are matched up nicely. And I'm trying to backstitch when I remember at the beginning and the ends, especially when it is like a square or a rectangle and it's not like a triangle on the point where I think it's going to get sucked into the feed dog. So this is just to make my stitching more secure and less likely to pop open. And so for these seams, we are pressing them up towards the center. So I'm going to press it from this side first, and then carefully open them up. Okay, so that finishes step 5, and I'm just going to set it to the side. Now we are on step 6. I need a large D square, that is our bright orange fabric, and 2 small E triangles. E fabric is our vampire kitties, and that is going to go to the top right and the bottom left. That's very important. You put them on the right sides because we are going to have 2 different fabrics on the opposite. So just be very mindful of that. And I'm going to match them up. And so for this, you'll see that your triangle, the little corners here are overhanging a tiny bit on each side. That is fine. It's going to get caught up in the seam allowance. So I just center that. So you'll see a little bit of the square behind it. It won't be perfectly to the edge. And this square's a little bit bigger, so if you want to clip this, you can. I didn't. I'm just making sure it doesn't shift and lining it up. So you'll see in a second when we press this open, because we centered it, it will cover all of that side of the square. So pressing that back side first and gently opening it. So you see it overhangs a tiny bit, and when we do the opposite too, it will get covered. So now I need to put my other E triangle, put that right sides together, and make sure that you are opposite that other side. I want to make sure that we are putting them on the correct edges of that center square. And same thing for this one. We are going to press from that back side first and gently open them up and press from the front. And now I want to rotate this so I have it sitting the exact way that it shows in my instructions so I do not get confused. Now I need 2 C small triangles for step 7, and they are going to go opposite. And we're going to repeat how we attach them. Okay, so I'll start at the top, put it right sides together. So you can see now when it overhangs, what happens is it lines up with those other fabrics we just attached. And that's exactly how you want it. You'll know that when you press it open, it's going to cover everything.
It's just that you can hide it. I don't think there's a job.
Okay, kind of you can see the press from the back here. Gently open it up. And you'll see what I mean, where now everything lines up on these sides. And when we sew this piece to the next, that little tiny triangle of orange here will get hidden in the seam allowance. So I'm going to repeat for this side here. I'm going to turn it around so that way I am catching everything correctly.
Mac.
And now gently pressing this open. And I'm going to turn it just so that way I have it oriented in the right direction, but I'm going to set it to the side because that finishes up our step 7. So now for step 8, we are making a flying geese. I need a large F triangle, and we're making 4 of them. So I'm actually going to be making 2 for this block. So I'm going to lay out 2 of them. And then on the right hand side, we need a small A triangle. So our fabric, that looks kind of similar, except F has the ravens, these has the ghosts in the haunted house. And on the top left, we need 2 small E triangles. So I'll lay these out as well. Vampire kitties. And I'm right-handed, so I always start on the right-hand side of flying geese. It doesn't really matter in the long run. And because we're making 2, I'm not going to cut my thread. I'm going to sew these both at the same exact time. And same here, put those right sides together. And again, just trimming my threads. Both of these we have to press open before adding our other side. Otherwise, we will have that seam allowance trapped down. So definitely make sure that you are pressing these open. And now I am adding the left-hand side. And the same for this one here. Making sure that they are lined up properly.
This was hard. So good because of the
Also, if you hear yelling in the background, the downstairs neighbors have their grandsons over, so I'm not sure if the mic is picking it up. Also, I know when I like enhance the voice, sometimes it thinks when I'm sewing, I'm talking, so it makes like funny noises when the machine is going. I call it like dinosaur sounds. So I apologize if you are hearing any of that. It's really hard to edit it out of the videos, especially if I'm like in the middle of talking, like explaining like this. All right, so these 2 flying geese finish step 8. And now we are on step 9. So we're going to use both our flying geese. The first one, we're going to keep facing with our triangle right side up. Then we are going to put our step 7 in the middle. We want to make sure that our E fabric is opposite the E fabric of the flying geese. So this is correct. The vampire kitties should not be on the same side. And then with our second flying geese, you can see it's pointing down. So we are going to rotate this here. And because there are center points here, but there's no center seam, so I'm not going to worry about clipping. I don't need to match up seams. So I am going to put them right sides together, and they should match up along that long side. You can clip them to hold them together because they are, there's no matching seam. I just am not clipping. I just line them up.
It's not awesome.
Okay, and for each of these, we are pressing our seams towards that flying geese portion. So this is the top part. So I am pressing from the back and gently folding that up. Now, there's kind of, you can see quite a bit of fabric here. I think I'm going to go back and sew one more line of stitching and do a little bit deeper so there's not so much showing. I thought I usually do a full 1/4 inch, but maybe my seam allowance was messed up a tiny, tiny bit on that. So I'm just going to go back and fix that. I don't need to pick it out because the seam just has to be a little bit deeper than the one that I sewed. So I'm just sewing alongside that first seam that I stitched. And that should make it match up a little bit better. But again, pressing from this side here and then gently. All right. And there's a little bit that you can still see of the fabric, but not quite as much. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on the bottom here, putting it right sides together. Definitely clip it if you want, but because I am, there's no seam in the flying geese, I am just going to stitch it like normal. Okay, and same here. We are pressing towards the flying geese. Technically, this is the bottom. I don't think it matters, but I'm just going to rotate it just in case. All right, yeah, this point is much more of a point. I was a little bit more mindful when I sewed that one across. All right, so that is our step 9. And our last step is step 10. We need to take our step 5, which is this piece here, and line it up along the right. And you'll know you did it correctly because our E fabrics here all match up. And for this one, I am going to clip because I have 1, 2, 3 seams that match up. So I'm going to put it right sides together, turn it towards me. I'm going to start by folding this back and match up that seam with the point of the triangle here. And once I have that, I'm going to clip that. And if you are pretty accurate while you're sewing, your seams should be nested on the left and the right here. So that nested nicely, and I'm going to clip out to the edge. And then the same thing here. I can see that these are nesting nicely. So clipping that and then clipping all the way out to the edge. Right, and now I'll take that to the machine. And for this one here, we are pressing our seam allowance to the right towards that piece we have just attached. giving it a nice press, and then gently opening this up. And I like to press where my seams are thickest, so that is where all of those seams lined up, where I clipped first, and then press out. All right, so that finishes up our 4A block, and you should have 2 of these. All right, so now we are moving on to section 4B. Again, there's 2 of them, so I'm going to make one for the video. I'll be cutting all these in half. We're going to start with an AF half square triangle. Need 4, so I'm going to make 2. So I need 2 small A triangles and 2 small F triangles. Sew them at the same time, making sure I put them right sides together. I don't know why. I think because of like the point, I always have trouble at first like lining these up. No. The second one, right sides together. I like this because the first one acts like a leader, especially with these points. Whenever I'm sewing the first one, I always make sure I hold my tails. Kind of helps pull it through and not get stuck down into the feet dogs.
Yeah.
Great. And for both of these, they are being pressed to the left towards our F fabric, which for us with Davy Jones Locker is the Raven fabric. So if you're doing both blocks at once, you are going to want 4 of these. And for our step 2, we are adding an A square to the right of both of them. And I am just going to make sure, if you want to rotate the orientation, like I'm just going to put them how they look, because these all get flipped around. Again, you should be making 4 of these if you're doing both blocks. I'm doing the 2, and you know you have it right because the A fabric is touching the A triangle. And I'm going to sew them both and just make sure that I'm sewing the correct side. When I line these up, it's so easy to accidentally flip them around, especially because I don't clip them. So just being extra mindful. Okay. And our seams are being pressed to the right towards that A square. Perfect. I'm just going to stack them and set them to the side. So now for our step 3, we are joining D and C squares. We need 8. So I am going to make 4. D fabric for us is the orange. So I'm just going to grab 4. This up out of the way. And then our C fabric is this. I love this pink fabric. It's almost like a pinkish purple. And again, so you want 8 of these if you're doing both. And I am just going to sew them all at once. I love this. Makes it fast when I'm sewing. I don't have to constantly cut the threads between each. And it's nice. They're both squares. They line up perfectly since everything is cut for you and it's die cut. You don't have to worry about it being slightly off. They'll all match up perfectly. Okay, excellent. And just cut these apart. All of these are being pressed the same way up towards the D fabric. So for us will be the orange side. So again, just pressing them from the back and gently opening them up, making sure not to tug them. And I'm just going to stack them as I'm doing it, just so I have enough space on my mat here where the camera is showing. We're going to be using these for our next step anyways. Okay, so that is step 3. And for step 4, we just need to rotate one of them. So the left side stays the DC, and then just rotate our block. And we're making 2. For both blocks, you would be making 4. Okay. Dropping some fabric off camera. So for these, I'm going to put them right sides together because we rotated them and we had pressed our seams the same way. They are actually going to nest perfectly. So I'm just matching up that seam first, clipping, and then clipping out to the edges. And I'll do the same thing for this one here. Rotating it. Always clip that match seam first, because that to me is the most important part that I want to line up, and then working my way out. Okay. And I will sew both of them at the same time as well. Okay, and then the second one. And both of these are going to be pressed to the left, to the side that has the D fabric in the top left. Okay, give it a nice press and open it. And the points match up fairly nice. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't usually pick them out unless it's like a huge noticeable difference, but as I have continued to do cotton cuts quilts, I've noticed my skills improving and better points each time. It's kind of cool to look at my past quilt tops and see the progress. All right, so this is step 4. All right, so now for step 5, we're making, if you're doing both, you're making 4. I'm going to do one of each. There's a 5.1 and a 5.2. So we are attaching these, keeping our D square to that top left, and just moving these up out of the way. And then taking our step 2s and putting it below. And the only difference between these is our F fabric is towards the bottom. The only difference is the way we're pressing our seams. One is getting pressed down and the other's getting pressed up. So as far as clipping these and sewing them, it's the same exact way. I have that one center seam that will be nested. So I just, again, matching the centers and lining up the edges. And the same thing here, putting them right sides together, nesting that center. And then clipping out along that edge. Okay, and sewing both of these at the same time. My iron back. I don't accidentally hit it and burn myself.
And
And the second one here. And again, clipping these. Okay, and so like I said previously, one is going to get pressed our seams down and then the other up. So this one I'm pressing down. And then for this one here on the right, I'm going to press up. So I just flipped it so my seams are facing up and then gently fold that open. I find it just makes it easier that way. Great, so our last step here, step 6, we are just attaching the two together. On the left, I need my 5.1 where my seams are pressed down. And on the right, I need where they are pressed up. So they're already in that orientation. So I'm just going to put them right sides together. The seams should nest already because I've pressed them. So they are matching up nicely. I'm going to clip where they nest first. And then clip out towards the edge. And I think the same thing over here. So you should have two of these. I have the one.
Sunday.
Right? And for this, our seam should be pressed to the left. So again, I'm going to give them a nice press from this back side and then gently open them up. And I'm so happy with how my points are matching up. I think it looks great. And sometimes I like to just give a press to some of the other areas. All right, so this finishes up our 4B block, and you should have two of these. All right, thanks everyone for joining me. We have just finished up month 4. We have 2 sections of our 4A and 2 sections of our 4B. I hope you are enjoying it. Let me know in the comments if you are. Again, please consider subscribing or giving me a thumbs up. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you next month. Bye.